We ran a Google ad campaign for a client of ours that generated a 41x return on ad spend. So for every dollar we spent on Google ads for this business, we generated $41 in revenue.
How is that even possible?
In this video, I'm going to show you the Google ad strategy that we used to generate this fantastic result and explain why this strategy that I'm about to show you is an absolute no-brainer for certain types of businesses. Okay, so let's start by having a look at this insane result and I'll explain how we're able to go about doing it, right? So we've got this campaign here, we've got the data for it here. It ran for a few months, spent $2,800, slightly over, dollars on it. You can see the conversion value divided by the cost, effectively the return on ad spend, is 41.35x, which is incredible. Total conversion value of $116,000, 127. So you basically turned just under $3,000 into $116,000, which is absolutely crazy. So why were we able to achieve this with this business? Why was this set up to do this, and what strategy did we employ here? Okay. So the first thing to note is that the average customer value for this business is really high. So you can see here the number of conversions is 29.5. I know that sounds weird. I'll quickly explain. The reason why you can get a 0.5 of a conversion is because of how the attribution works. So Google can compare, they can partly attribute to this campaign, partly attribute to another campaign. That's why you can get 0.5. I know when you first look at that, you think, how does that work? But anyway, the point here is that for effectively 30 conversions, 30 purchases, this business generated 116 in conversion value. So you're getting on for close to $4,000 per purchase. That's a really high average order value. This is an e-commerce business and they sell high-end luxury stuff. So, you've got a cost per conversion of $95 there, which is relatively high for some businesses, but obviously for this business where each time you get a conversion, you're generating close to $4,000 in revenue. That's absolutely fantastic, and hence why we're able to see this crazy 41x return on ad spend. So this business had some things going for it that allowed us to get crazy results, and often to get these like 40x ROAS, 30x ROAS, 60x ROAS, you not only need a great ad campaign, you also need the business to be geared up in a way where this is actually possible. So let's say your average order value was $40. You cannot therefore get a 40x ROAS campaign because you'd have to be generating purchases for $1 each, which is most likely less than it's going to cost you even to get a click, and you're definitely not going to convert 100% of your clicks into customers, so that's just not possible. So this business is set up well for it. So that was part of the story in terms of being able to get these great results, but the strategy we use has worked really well as well. So if we scroll back a little bit, we will see that the campaign type that we've used here is Performance Max. And I love the Performance Max campaign type when it comes to Google Ads. And just to quickly explain what Performance Max is. Performance Max is effectively an amalgamation of all the various different campaign types. Now, most people, when they think about Google Ads, they think of search. They think of people searching for a particular keyword, that causing ads to be shown. Click on that, become a customer. That's what Google Ads is, right? But there's lots of other elements to Google Ads. There's the display network. Display network, you've seen these ads everywhere. It's a sort of ads that will pop up on a website. They might be in the header, along the side, these sorts of things. Those are Google AdSense ads. That's their display network. But Google has ads on a number of other places as well. You can see ads within Gmail. You can see ads within YouTube. You can see Google Shopping ads. So if you search for a particular product and you see those in Google and you see those sort of cards up at the top that show, product image, price, headline, name of the product, that sort of thing, you can click through and purchase. Those are Google Shopping ads. So Google has lots of different campaign types that you can use. And previously, before they had Performance Max, advertisers would create different campaign types, one for search, one for display, and have all these various elements separated out. When Performance Max was brought in, it's effectively like a one-stop shop. So you create a Performance Max campaign, you provide Google with the information around your products, around your services, which keywords you want to target, the creative assets that you've got associated with your product or service, you can upload those. Google will take those, you write some ad copy for various ads, and then Google will take all that information and they will use that in all the various different networks, all the various different locations. And it's a really good way to be very efficient as a Google advertiser with the one campaign type to reach people in lots of different locations. Now, typically, I recommend that Google advertisers start on the search network. I think that's the easiest to understand. It's what most people think about when they think of Google advertising. But I do think that once you've gotten used to that, you want to then move to Performance Max and definitely incorporate Performance Max at the least in your overall Google ad strategy. So we were using the Performance Max campaign type for this campaign, and that's certainly part of why it works so well. The next thing I want to highlight is the bid strategy type. So you can see here that with this campaign, we went for maximize conversion value. Okay, so the default with a campaign like this is going to be maximize conversions. But we switched to maximize conversion value, and for an e-commerce business, that's really important. And here's why. When you go with maximize conversions, Google will try and get you as many conversions as possible. The difference when you go for maximized conversion value is, yes, they will try and get you as many conversions as possible, but they will weight that in favor of conversions that are more valuable to your business. So if Google can see, okay, this customer came through to a website and yes, they converted, they became a customer, but they only spent $100, and this customer came through and they converted, but they spent $9,000, well, Google will go, oh, okay, we're optimizing for conversion value, therefore we're going to advertise the sorts of products that are more likely to get us a $9,000 conversion. We will advertise to the sort of people that are more likely to get a $9,000 purchase. And that might mean the overall you have less conversions with maximized conversion value, but the overall revenue generated will be higher. And particularly for e-commerce businesses where you do often have very varied value from conversions from different customers, you have very valued order values, some order values will be really small, some are going to be really large. Maximized conversion value is really, really important. If you're a service-based business and you're optimizing for leads and you just have the one service and all the leads are basically worth the same thing, you can maximize conversions, that's fine. But if you have really varied values, then you want to go with that. Otherwise, Google is going to optimize for the lower priced items. Because if you said I want as many conversions as possible, well, it's easier to sell something that costs $100 than it is $9,000. They're going to optimize for that. So that's a big part of this. And I also just want to quickly make very clear, you do not want to go ahead and change it as some Google advertisers do when you're using a Performance Max campaign and optimize for clicks. Like, Google could be very good at finding people that will click and potentially not convert. Performance Max, because it's going to take advantage of all the various Google networks and the places where you can put ads on Google, it's not just search. It means that you don't necessarily have buyer's intent. With search, you often have buyer's intent. With a lot of the other placement options, you don't. So it's very important that Google is aligned and knows exactly what you want as a business. If you optimize for clicks, they can get you loads of clicks from the display network, but are those people actually going to convert? Well, if you're optimizing for maximize conversions or maximize conversion value, then yes, that becomes far more likely. So that was another important component of this campaign, is not just getting the campaign type right, but also the bid strategy. Now, we also ran this campaign on a small budget, and just to provide a bit of context here, this is a client we worked with for a number of years running their meta ad campaigns, and we were trying to talk to them for a while being like, we think you should run Google ad campaigns as well, we think this would work really well. And they sort of weren't sure about it, the business owners, and we convinced them to do it. So we said, look, let's just start on a small budget, we'll leave it ticking along in the background, we'll use Performance Max, which will take advantage of all the various places on Google, so people will be seeing your ads here, there, and everywhere. And what that meant, because this business is spending thousands a month on meta ads and they're generating a lot of traffic, a lot of customers, a lot of interest, a lot of engagement, is that when you run a Performance Max campaign like this on a small budget, I think this might have run on $7 a day, something like a really small budget in comparison to what they're spending elsewhere, is this will effectively act like a retargeting campaign. They will only put ads in front of people that have already interacted with your business, either through Google or via the website or elsewhere. Google is smart enough to work that out and be able to find those people. And we haven't specified that in the targeting. Like when you set up a Performance Max campaign, there are things you can do to specifically go after people that have taken certain actions to make them into a warm audience effectively. We haven't specified that. We've just let Google do its thing. And Google's going to work that out because they want you to get the best results possible. They're going to put your ads in front of people that are most likely to convert. And Google knows that if someone's just visited your website but hasn't yet converted, that's a really good person to put an ad in front of, whether that's when they're in Gmail or on a display network or even in search, right? So with a Performance Max, you have that flexibility. Now, what Google will typically do is they'll put ads in front of those people first, and then as you continue to spend and as you scale, your ads will then be put in front of colder and colder audiences. It's one of the reasons why sometimes people see drop-offs in results with a Performance Max campaign. It starts really well and drops off. It's because you basically use up those warm audiences. Because we've kept this on a really small budget in comparison to what's being spent elsewhere, then this campaign is basically just being served to those warm audiences because there's enough new warm audience being generated for those at this budget to be used up just advertising those warm audiences. And that's another really important factor into how we're able to get such an insane ROAS here, 41x, well, just over 41x, is because most of these ads are going to be going to warm audiences. Not all, that's not the way Google typically works unless you specify it, but we know based on how this works that that's where most of the budget is being spent. So this leads me to a recommendation that I have for basically all businesses. If you are spending significant money on any ad platform, doing any form of marketing, you've got website traffic, you've got customers, and you're not already advertising on Google, Creating a performance max campaign to tick along in the background with a small budget is just an absolute no-brainer. There is no reason not to do that. If you have an email list, if you have any form of customer generation that is being used elsewhere and you're not advertising on Google, just get a performance max campaign ticking along nicely in the background. You don't need to specifically set it up as a retargeting campaign. You can allow Google to work that out. The platform is definitely sophisticated enough. And for a business, like I said, that's spending thousands, to just have a campaign ticking along with 7, 10, I can't remember the exact amount, dollars a day in the background, just gathering up customers every now and then. But for a business like this, each customer's worth nearly $4,000 when they do, like I said, is an absolute no-brainer. So that naturally leads to the next question, which is, okay, so how do I actually go about creating one of these performance max campaigns? I know they can sound quite complicated. They probably are more complicated than other campaign types because of the various moving parts. Well, you basically got two options there. Firstly, you can have my company just simply do it for you. We'll make sure it's set up correctly. We will most likely get you much better results than if you try and DIY it. And we offer full done for you Google advertising services. We create, manage, optimize campaigns. If you want to find out more, there is a link in the video description. You can click on that, come through to a page on our website, book in a free call with one of my team members, and we can show you exactly how we can help and just handle all this for you. If you don't want to do that, you want to do this yourself, then I strongly recommend you check out this video, because in that video, I've been through the whole process of creating a performance max campaign from start to finish, walk you through all the steps so you can get it set up the right way and benefit from some fantastic results, hopefully somewhere near as good as the ones we've been able to generate here. So go ahead and check that out, and I'll see you on another video.